You went back to WWF by this time, and I think Vince McMahon Jr. is now commentating. What are your first thoughts on Vince Jr. and reflections on him from when you first got back, and here he is now commentating?
Yeah, I didn't think too much of it. I thought he done a good job on commentary. He used to do interviews. I think when I first got there, and he'd lead me into something. I was never that great with interviews because we didn't know what was going to happen.
Right.
From week to week or month to month, or like we were 3 weeks out. In like Portland and Bangor, we'd go there every 3 weeks, and we didn't know what the heck was going to happen, so we just had to be humble.
Could you have predicted he would become one of the most important promoters of all time? Did you didn't see that in the making?
No, I didn't know really what was going on. I was just, go to this town, wrestle, and we'll pay you.
Right. What do you think drove Vince and made him tick back in the 80s?
I really don't know. I guess he just figured, it's do or die, because that's what he was. I heard stories about that first WrestleMania.
That he borrowed money from the mafia or something?
Oh, well, I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
No. But I heard that it was either do or die.
Yeah.
I think it was the one in Michigan, the big one.
Oh, I thought it was the first one in New York. I don't.
Yeah, it could have been that too, because that was, what did you call it when you had an event here, but you had a theater in...
Simulcast.
Simulcast.
Yeah,
right?
when he had two different... Well, that was WrestleMania, I think, 2, where he did it. Was it... How many locations was WrestleMania 2? 2 or 3? I forgot offhand. That's when he had Hogan and Bundy in the cage on top in one location. I forgot.
Bundy,
Memories of King Kong Bundy, real quick.
Yeah, I liked him, and I used to curse him out in the ring when he first started, when he was regular. But I had a match in Madison Square Garden where he was as green as green. And I thought, and Skolin said, Tony, you're working with this kid here. He said, I want you to go over, And I'm saying, Jesus, how the hell am I going to beat him? And, I talked to a couple of guys. I had my idea.
Right.
And I said to Morocco, I said, how would you beat Bundy, He said, slam the big bastard. And I said, well, that's what I originally thought. But then what? He said, you cover him. I said, okay. So I'm thinking. So I said, Bundy, you work my back, bear hug type thing. So we started off, and I had him, pummel me a little bit, and I think I hit the turnbuckle, and I moved, and then he came out, and I picked him up, and I fell down with him. Well, there's 18,000 people. Ooh, they didn't believe it. I fell down. No, the first one, I tried to pick him up, and I couldn't.
Right.
And I told him, I says, when I do that, just hit me on the back and just beat me on the back. And then the second time, I picked him up, and I fell down with him. And then I slid out, done one of those fancy ballerina type moves. Who's going to believe I'm going to kick him off, So, and then the third time, I slammed him and covered him. And my right knee twisted just a little bit.
Oh.
Didn't hurt it, but I could feel it. Like there was a lot of friggin' effort in that slam.
Oh, it didn't help you at all?
No, well, he might have, but it didn't feel like it.
Well, going back also to the early 80s, what made Ag Hall such a great place for WWF TV tapings up in Allentown?
Oh, I think it was the people, in the vicinity that came, to the matches. They were diehard fans, and they could get a double shot because we were in Hamburg the next day.
I was going to say, how would you compare Hamburg to Allentown? Very similar, right?
Yeah, similar. I liked Allentown better for some reason or other, but I think because Hamburg, we had one room and a shower, and the baby faces were on this side and the heels were over on this side.
Yeah.
But in Allentown, we had drapes up. That's all we had. We just had drapes. I don't think we even took a shower. We used to bring alcohol, I think.
Wow.
Boy, what stories, huh?
Yeah, no, this is great. Members of teaming with Rene Goulet.
Yeah, I teamed a couple of times with Rene, and I wrestled him a few times. Wrestling him was very enjoyable. We wrestled down in Salisbury, Maryland a couple of times, and we had a blast, good reaction from the crowd. Rene was a great guy. He was good. We were driving one time in New Brunswick, and we drove from, I think, St. John to Moncton to Halifax, and he drove to Moncton, and we stopped at a gas station, and he got a donut. He got a donut and a cup of coffee. I guess you had to be there, and then I was driving on to Halifax, so he said to me, "You got my donut, monsieur?" With the French accent.
Right.
I said, "I haven't got your damn donut." I very seldom eat. I probably eat 3 donuts a year. I said, "I don't have your donut." He said, "Oh, maybe I left it on the roof, and we already..." So I reached over and I grabbed his coffee and I put it there. And, because I said, "I think it might be in the glove compartment." So he looked in there. He said, "It's not here, monsieur." "Ah, God damn it. Well, I have my coffee." He said, "Where's my goddamn coffee?"
That's all.
I was the only person in the car. Oh, God.
What are your first impressions of Rick Martel?
Well, Rick, he came in and they were going to, put him with me. And I never met him. He was very polite, very, very nice. And I just said, "Okay, we'll see where we go." And we worked similar.
Yeah.
He was, I think he's 10 years younger than me. So, he had more vim, more vigor. But we drove together and we talked about the matches, just little things, and we didn't even have to talk to each other or do anything towards the end,
You guys already knew.
I remember with the Samoans, we were in Philadelphia, and Monsoon said, "Okay, you guys are working together." I forget who was going over on the point. He said that, talk about it. So we walked into the room, and there was just the 4 of us, and nobody was saying anything. And I said, "Well, I've been here the longest." I said, "Okay, guys," I said, "I don't know about you guys, but there's an easy way and a hard way to do this, and I like to do it the easy way." So they listened to me. I give them a scenario, and they agreed. I swear to God, they hurt me more when we got back in the dressing room because they hugged me, those guys. But I think, I grew up in New Zealand with Samoans, and I understood them, their culture, and to a certain degree, so I talked with them. There was another time with the Moondogs, similar thing. We wrestled up in Connecticut. They beat the living shit out of us. And I didn't make the speech before, I made it after. And we were working in the garden the next day. So, I didn't read them the riot act, I didn't have, but I just told them, I said, "Hey guys, we're going to make money, we're going to have to work together." And it was completely different than that. Of course, you know what happened with the Moondogs. We done quite a bit of business with them. And it was a pleasure. The big guy, Sailor White, he used to come and he'd whack you there and he'd ha, 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 And I had his arm one time and I just cinched up on it and I bent it. I thought he turned white because he could feel that arm, going the wrong way. But I wouldn't have hurt him, but just let him know.
Watch thousands of exclusive shoot interviews right now on TitleMatchNetwork.com.